Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Not too bad, my friend. Good to see you. Just waiting for one of my characters to load. Might take a while. Having a pretty chill day, all things considered. Well, I mean, it's 8:30 in the morning at the moment, so of course I'm having a chill day. It's barely started. Hope everyone's had a decent week. Morning, Sadastu. If there's anybody watching from the UK, it's probably been an exciting couple of days for everybody, I think, with one thing and another. Well, yeah. I have to be honest, there's been a couple of Sundays where I've woken up and I've just gone, oh my God. But I enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to you guys. It's a weird time, I know, because obviously people in the States are, well, for some of them it's 3 in the morning, so I appreciate the effort that people take to come and watch and chat. That's all it really is. It's just, I do stuff on the screen, obviously, but just nice to engage with people, give people an opportunity to talk to me in real time, ask questions, so on. I turned on subscribers only mode just to kind of whittle out. There's the last couple of live streams, there's been a couple of people who've just sort of come along for a fight almost, where it is what it is. There's always going to be that, particularly in this kind of content, but there you go. Especially now I've started doing podcasts where I talk about things other than game development. Oh, we have movement. It only took 3.5 minutes to get this far. And it's still not loading. There we go. Bloody hell. 3.5 minutes to load a character in the scene. I really need to go through my content library and just delete all the crap I don't use. All the morphs and stuff. Seriously, like 90% of the stuff. What do I think about Hexagon? That's a good question. It's not a bad tool. It's unreliable in as much as I don't think I've ever used it successfully from start to finish and accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish in it without it crashing at least once. Yeah, its tendency to crash to desktop and without, so like regular saves are a must on Hexagon. Otherwise, you just end up losing everything you've done. But it is free. Arguably, so is Blender, and Blender is considerably better in every way, shape, and form. But you get what you pay for with Hexagon and Daz Studio. It's not a bad effort for a company that clearly doesn't focus on creating 3D assets. But if I were going to do anything, any serious modeling or anything like that, I would just use Blender. It's so much better. I think that's why they've put so much effort into the Blender bridge now, because it means that people can still use Daz Studio. Hexagon is just so unreliable that even the devs don't have any faith in it. They would rather use Blender. Of course, I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing, based on the limited amount of time and effort that they put into Hexagon. Okie dokie, what am I doing? What am I doing? I have lost the plot. Let's put her in a scene. Let's go for a environment. And unselect her so I don't just see the products that were apparently made specifically for her. Boom, 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 boom. I think what a lot of people have been saying is not entirely untrue. I think there's a lot of functionality that could be added to Daz Studio that would make it better. I think they should ditch Daz Central and Daz Download and Install Manager completely, because they're just a waste of time. And what they need to do is add functionality to Daz that will, when you add a new, so let's have, like, say for example, an installation folder where you copy stuff to, like, you put your zip files into, and then when you start Daz, you've got an option. It'll say new content detected in this folder, do you want to install it? You hit yes, it unpacks it, puts it in the right folders, and adds metadata automatically, so that A, you don't have to sit there questioning whether Daz Central has actually done its job or Daz Install Manager has actually done its job. And you don't have to redo your entire content library database every time you install a new product, because that is tedious, to say the least. You know, sitting and waiting for your database to update now for my database takes like 15 minutes, nearly 20 minutes. It's ridiculous. So I have to say that I don't do it very often. If I install new products, I might wait. Yeah, Maya's good. Maya is very good. If you're in a situation where you can get a student account with them and you can get a copy of Maya on the cheap, do it, because it's the industry standard for building and animating 3D. So yeah, if you're in a situation, if you're at school as well, do it, man. Do it. Get in there, learn it. You'll be much better off learning how to just sculpt from scratch. And you'll be one of these people in 5 years' time looking at people who use Daz Studio and going, it's you know, I wish when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, 3D wasn't really a thing. It was the late 90s. Like, there weren't many games weren't 3D. I mean, the most we had back in like the mid to late 90s was PlayStation, and it was like really sketchy kind of 3D back in those days. It's like sculpting at this level would never have been something that we'd have considered. So there wasn't a facility for us to learn it. I wish if I'd have had that opportunity when I was growing up, I would have jumped all over that. I would have been all over that like flies on poo. So yeah, jump at the chance, because I'd say Maya is like the daddy. Character design, Maya. Daz 3D doesn't let you design characters. You can customize the characters and you can create your own skin textures, but if you're gonna do that, you might as well sculpt it, you know. Get a bare bones template of a human body, like an androgynous mannequin almost, and then you can, once you've got that template, you can then use it to create any number of characters from just by moving the vertices around. If you rig it before you start as well, that means that you haven't got to worry about that either, and you only have to tweak the rigging afterwards. Daz 3D is good at one thing and one thing only, and that's using custom or pre-built products to create still images. There is a small amount of customization, but if you're in a situation where you can learn how to do, you know, sculpting with Maya to make your own characters, then you'd be much better off learning to do that. If you're still at school, ignore Daz Studio in terms of any kind of creativity. You know, you can use it to make images with, of course, but I would strongly advise you to go down the Maya route, because you're still at an age where you can learn it and get really good at it and then put those skills to good use. People at my age, I'm 40 now, 41, I can learn it, but at this stage in my career, it's you know, realistically, it's going to take 5 or 10 years to learn how to use Maya properly, because it is really advanced, and it's, you know, you can learn the fundamentals, but you've got to practice and get good at it. So I'll be in my 50s by the time I get to that stage. That's not that I'm not trying. I am trying to learn Maya. That's why I've done a couple of videos on it over the years. But yeah, for someone just starting out in their career, I would learn the better tools straight away. Daz Studio isn't really software for game developers, to be honest. It's the low-hanging fruit. And this is going to sound like I'm ragging on the guys who make the visual novels. I'm not. Most of the people who make visual novels are really good at either coding or storytelling, but 3D isn't necessarily their strong suit, so they use Daz Studio to create the images that they want, because it's fairly low energy. It doesn't take a lot of time and effort. It's slow going, but the actual process of creating the renders is fairly simplistic. Let's see. Where shall I have her jogging? Yeah, I think quite a lot of us are. I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, definitely. It's hard going, and you know, this is not me looking for anybody's sympathy or anything like that. But obviously, what I'm struggling with at the moment is, because I'm trying to diversify the channel, I'm trying to create content for more people. So people who use Unity, people who want to make pixel art, and stuff like that. What I'm finding is I'm getting resistance from the people who want Daz Studio. All they want is Daz Studio. You know, at the end of the day, it's their problem, not mine. It's you know, it's got to happen. If I want to continue to be able to make YouTube channels, YouTube videos, I need to do videos that cover more topics, because Daz Studio is a very limited subject, and it's only got about 50,000 users, which means that's the maximum size my audience can be. Yeah, all the bits of software that you've mentioned, Sadastu, are like the industry standard, really good game developer tools. If you want to make a Ren'Py game, then absolutely do it. You know, if you're doing it for fun, it's cool, man. You don't have to jump in and learn if that's what you want to do. If you're in a situation where you can learn how to use those more advanced tools at the same time, though, I would definitely do it, because trying to teach yourself how to use Maya is painful. Even like I use LinkedIn Learning and stuff like that all the time, and even so, you sit there and you think, "Oh, this is great! I'm really good at this." You know, you work your way through the tutorial videos, and you build the thing that they want you to build. And you think, "Great! Now I'm really good at making treasure chests, but I can't actually make anything else." You know. YouTube channels are probably worse, because they really do only teach you how to make one specific thing. Like, you work through a Unity tutorial and you don't really explain what it is you're doing and why. They just say, copy my code, in which case they might have just loaded up the code on, you know. That's why during my Let's Code seasons, I slow down and I deliberately try and explain why we're doing it and what everything does, so that people can then go away and they can extrapolate from that and use that knowledge to build their own. It's the whole teaching a man to fish versus giving him a fish situation, isn't it? People think if they don't give out all the knowledge that it will keep it'll keep people coming back to their channel, but that's not what it's about. If someone leaves my channel feeling like they've learned something, not just copied my code, then they'll come back to learn more, not just coming back to copy my code again. That's a bit preachy, I do apologise. Let's rotate that way. Let's give her a pose. Why the hell not? Hey, poses? What am I going to have her doing? Walking, running, standing, leaning, sitting. I'm going to have her she's going to be admiring the view that you can't see. Hey, no worries, man. Whatever you choose to do, best of luck to you. Absolutely. Oh my god, so many poses. None of them appropriate. That one I'll do. That's about as close as I think I'm going to get to what I want. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Let's undo that pose and come up with a better one. Here's my thing though, you see, like there's so many content creators overly sexualize all of their products. There's a huge gap in the market for just ordinary, everyday stuff. Poses that look like normal people. Clothes that look like clothes that a normal person could actually wear. I think if there was a content creator out there who was just doing normal stuff, they'd make an absolute killing. Every pose you look through your library and every pose looks like it looks like a pose. It doesn't just look like a normal person's idle or walking or anything like that. They're always like they're on a catwalk. Yeah, male content is horrendous. You can tell what gender most of the content creators in the Daz Studio store are. I feel bad for the female creators, like Biscuits. She creates hair, and she does a really good job of it. Really good job of it. And she might even pop onto the stream today. You never know. And obviously there's Sickle Yield as well. You know, they create like decent products that are useful, but the majority of the content creators on there are clearly male, and they clearly all think they're Liberace because they design some really weird looking stuff that might be useful in like one pose if you were maybe creating a scene of a high fashion show or something like that. But sometimes you just want an ordinary bra and pants or an ordinary pair of leggings and a t-shirt. It's really hard to find those. Certainly ones that haven't been done to death, because there's just so few of them that the few that are there get overused. Seriously, how hard is it to get someone just standing? I'm not doing friggin' yoga. Let's just try it. Let's try typing in that. Nope, that's an animation. That might do. That might do. Cool. Okay. Right, let's put a HDRI into our scene. Render settings. Oh yeah, I've got to turn it into iRay mode first. quite funny actually. I'm sort of messaging around to people, looking for people to join in the podcast and do, you know, kind of collaborations so that you guys can actually get to hear from real life content creators, even proper coders and things like that. There is some, not resistance, some hesitation. I think people are worried that because I tend to say what I think, let's get that out of the way, that I'm going to railroad them, which is, you know, fair enough. I get it. I do understand. Not what I intend to do. I've got no desire to embarrass anyone or make anyone feel uncomfortable. Okay, a little bit dark. Or is it just a little bit around the wrong way? Let's try finding out. Try rotating act. Son of a beasting. Turn off draw ground. We don't need it. Dome rotation. Let's try 180 degrees. Round to the way. Right. Okay, so now the sun's definitely coming from the correct direction. Now we know it's definitely too dark. So let's just bump that up a few stops. Really? Is it really still that bad? This is one of those. So I'm not going to name the creator, but this is an HDRI that's been uploaded to the Daz Studio store and marketed as a real life HDRI. But as you can see from here, there's no shadow, there's nothing obstructing the HDRI's light source from hitting our character or any of the props in the scene. And you can see from the actual trees in the HDRI themselves that the sun is incredibly bright. But because they haven't made the light source powerful enough in the HDRI, as in the luminosity information isn't there, you end up with this really weird looking situation where the HDRI looks really bright, but it's not actually casting any light onto our character. So what we have to do is we can, and let me just double check. Yeah, as you can see, look, there is literally nothing stopping that light source from hitting our character, and yeah, it looks dark as hell. So our options are, and what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to check what one that is. .104. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm going to go to open with Adobe Photoshop. This may cause a little bit of jittering on the stream because I'm trying to do lots of things at once. But okay, so this is our HDRI, and you can clearly see that the light source is there, but it's just not bright enough. So what we have to do is get our brush, make it a touch bigger, select our color. Okay. Right, let me just check that this is actually a proper HDRI. Let's go with an exposure adjustment layer. If we drop the exposure down, we should be able to see. See, that's not bright enough. The sun is white, but the thing is, it goes down to, it only goes down 6 stops, which is a problem. I'll tell you what I'll do. If I delete that layer, I take this and I bump up the exposure. In fact, if I go to channels, I can control click on there. It's going to select the brightest bit of the screen. If I create another exposure layer now, that will have the layer mask that we're after. And now I can bring this up, maybe, let's go 3 stops. And we go to File, Save As. We can save it as a copy of our HDRI. Oopsie, you just found out whose HDRI that shit was. Excuse me, did I say shit? HDRI. And we'll call it that. Right, now we can come back in, load up our new HDRI. Right, this may or may not work. I might not have bumped it up enough. 3 stops isn't a lot, but let's find out. If we now go back to NVIDIA iRay mode. You've all gone awfully quiet. Were you all paying attention to what I was doing? Or have you all just lost interest and gone off to watch Pewds or something else? You've all left me to go and watch WP Guru play Tetris or something. Right, see, now it looks a little bit better. Still not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's better. So now if I drop this down, the light source is still quite dark, but it's getting there. I say that, I say it in jest. I'm certainly not having a jab at the guy. Like, let's just increase that to maybe 6 stops. If he's managing to get people to watch him playing games, then, you know, fair play to him. That's what I can say. I tried it. I tried doing variety channel stuff on this channel. And I was actually losing subscribers because people were just getting fed up with seeing gaming videos come up 5 times a week. So if someone's actually successfully managing to do Daz Studio content and gaming content, then Charlie 601, me old mucker. And what's going on? All right, it's down here. Let's try this one. This should be, theoretically, this should now be brighter and harder on the, yeah, much harder. Right, let's go down to 2 again. I may have gone too far in the other direction now. Right, I know what to do. I know what to do. It is a trial and error process, but I think what I need to do is leave this at 3 stops. And then create another exposure layer just for the sun. I'm going to control invert that layer mask. I'm going to crank the exposure of this up to 3 as well. So now we get a total of 6 stops, and then I'm just going to get my masking brush, and I'm just going to go once, twice, 3 times a lady. Right, and now we can save that. That, save, yes. Now I've got to reload, and I think it's Control I to reload the images. Don't know why I've got that song stuck in my head now. reloads our textures. Right, now we're looking a bit better. Our sun is roughly the right brightness. It's over there. There you go. A masterclass in how to very quickly make your HDRIs actually work like an HDRI. What you will notice is, though, there's no freaking shadows. Is she hovering off the floor? Is that why there's no shadows? No, she's not. Interesting. Right, let's just jump out of iRay preview mode. Now we've got the HDRI more or less where we want to be. Nice, okay. Let's lift her up a smidge. I reckon she's got to come up by 3 centimeters. Maybe a bit less. Yeah, let's try 2. Let's try 1.5 actually. There we go. Right, now she's actually on the floor. It's kind of weird that she's not casting a shadow. It almost makes me want to turn on draw floor again. Hello to everyone who's joined us. Sitting there quietly in the background. I finally got around to watching Free Guy yesterday. Thoroughly enjoyable. Featured a little bit too much ninja for my liking. It would have been better if there was none. But there we go. We do have a shadow. It's just really not very bright. It's over there. Yeah, it's certainly nice to see them putting YouTubers in. It's kind of cringe that those YouTubers are now going around telling everyone when their movie starts because they were in Free Guy for like... I think Jacksepticeye had the most screen time and he was in it for a grand total of about 15 seconds. Right. Okay, HDRI is looking okay. Character's kind of looking a bit bored. Maybe I'll have her doing something else. Maybe she's doing some yoga or something. They do live on the beach after all. Let's have a look. Sports. Oh, my GPU's starting to warm up. The fan has come on. Ah, I forgot to delete the word idle from my search. Right, let's see. Any yoga poses? Of course I've got yoga poses. Ooh, maybe she's stretching. That would be cool. See, even the sports poses look overly sexualized. But since when has a football player ever stood on a pitch and just gone? Just, goddamn. One of my, like, I know someone leaving me comments the other day about how something I'd done with my thumbnails was their pet peeve. Well, this is my pet peeve. It really is. Like, it's almost, you could almost get on the SJW bandwagon about it and say, like, clearly whoever made these poses has no respect for actual female football players or soccer players if you're from anywhere outside the UK. Because every single one of these poses is like that. I think people are stumped by the subscriber-only chat mode. Either that or just no one wants to talk to me today. It's fine either way. Right, we have crouching pose. She's getting ready to run. That's what she's doing. She's warmed up. She's getting ready. No, she's not. That looks stupid. That looks stupid. Right, crouching clearly isn't going to work. Let's try this one. Ah, yoga poses. There you go. Oh, that's a good stretch. It's going to look stupid with her hair, though, because I don't think her hair's going to flop down like that. Might do. Let's find out. Okay. I think I might need to turn limits off. I think that might be a problem. Limits off. Let's try that again. Nope, didn't work. It's a good pose. Try the Genesis 8 female version of the pose and see if that works. Goodness me. It just looks like she's begging. Ah, there we go. Turn off limits. Accept. Nope. Didn't work. Ah, good pose. Great pose. Right. I see what I did wrong there. Try the full body version. I was just doing the upper body. Yes, I know. It was me insulting the creator of that as well. Okay, that's right leg. We're almost there. Let's Control Z that one. Seriously, where is the full body version of the pose? Come on, reset, for goodness sake, right. Top, right leg, right arm, left leg, left arm. Nice to put partial poses in, obviously, of course. Okay. Now then, let's have a look and see if the hair is going to do what it wants to, what it is meant to. Or is it going to do completely the opposite? Right, the pose itself isn't too bad. I could bring the arms in, or I could just unbend the hips slightly, which I think is probably going to be more sensible. Let's try just minus 19. Does that bring us? Oh no, that's the wrong one. Sorry, Control Z that. We need to change the amp right. So let's drop that down to just 23. Okay. I think that's it. Let's have a look and zoom in there a bit. Okay, there we go. Now we is touching. Right. I don't really see any mileage in doing it from the base pose because it's just hanging there. So let's go with simulation settings, turn it off from base pose. But I've got a feeling that we need to do about 4-second duration maybe. I don't honestly think it's going to fall all the way down. I don't think this hair model is that kind of deforce, but we'll find out. We'll find out. Oh crap, I forgot about the tank top being deforce. That might confuse matters. Or it might not. Is that even deforce hair? No, I don't think it is. Oh dear. It's not deforce hair. Okay. Well, we needed to simulate anyway to get the pants and the shirt working, but we can stop that. There's a little bit of poke through at the hips. Right, I need to find a hair that's of similar length. It's actually deforce, and I can make a similar color. Okay, let's have a look. And it has to be straight. Deforce. Let's see what. No, that's too long. I might be able to adjust the length of it though. Okay, that is not dissimilar. But it's far away enough that I don't think it's going to work. Let's see if... let's see if I can make this longer. See if that's got the ability to do what we want it to do. It's not a perfect replica by any road, but plenty of other options if that's not the case. Right, I can close down Photoshop now. Don't need that up anymore. No, I don't want to save that. I fixed it. Right, okay. So we can hide the hairstyle that she's got. Select this and have a look and see what options we've got available to us. Right, so none, basically. Right, okay. That was not a good candidate. This one might do. Again, it's not a perfect copy. It's a bit wavier than it should be, but it is a close approximation to the hairstyle that she had. So hopefully when deforce takes its hold on it, it won't make that much of a difference. Okay. It's a little bit shorter than the other hairstyle, but adjust hairline height, forward, back. Let's see if there's a styling option, fit and adjust. Okay, neck height, neck in, out, temple. Actor, adjust face left, face right, or lift back curl, end curl, forward, left, long. That's what we want. Sweet. Right, let's simulate this and see what happens. I know that the top and that are all going to be simulated again, but it's fine. It is fine. Let's find out if strand-based hair is going to do what we want it to do. Seems to be falling. Some of it's falling, some of it's clipped into the body, which is a bit annoying. Alright, that's... Well, let's see what happens with the other strands if they fall all the way down, because there's nothing really happening here. Tell you what we need to do. What we need to do is cancel this, undo the long morph first so that the hair's not clipping through the body. We'll just set that to 0. Hopefully that is now. No, still a little bit of clipping going on. We're going to have to go from default pose. Son of a bitch, let's do post transition time of like 0.5. I'm going to select that and do a freeze in simulation on. We don't need that doing anything. Same thing with pants. We don't need that doing anything. Right, so it's just going to simulate the hair, and hopefully now, if we do it from the default pose, and we've got it short, we can extend the length once it's down. This may take a while. Oh, yes. What's everybody doing today? Anybody doing any rendering? You just chilling out, watching me chilling? Yeah. Nice. Bit of Sunday rendering, can't go wrong. Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to lose a weekend just rendering, given how long it takes. I can't say much because I normally spend my weekends recording videos for my various YouTube channels and stuff, and that sort of eats away at the weekend. Yes, mate. I feel you. It's resellers. It's not even the companies that are selling them anymore. It's the dickheads that are going out and like... I used to think that resellers were just like random people who took advantage of the situation. But now I know better, and there are actual kind of like websites where resellers gather together. They're like forums, and they actually coordinate to create false demand. So there are people in these groups that are actually sitting and camping on websites like that sell these GPUs and stuff, and they will snap them up before anybody else does so that they can jack up the prices. You know, seems a lot more sinister than it used to. When I just thought it was the odd 1 or 2 people being dickheads and taking advantage, it wasn't tolerable, but it was just kind of like meh. But now I know that there are huge groups of these people that deliberately coordinate to do that. I just think it's absolutely appalling, quite frankly. People like you or I who actually want to use the GPU for something that the GPU is intended for, gaming or rendering or whatever. And then there's these turds out there that are just buying them up and selling them for twice the price. I think the only word that, literally the only word that can be used to describe those people is just evil. That's not capitalism, that's just being a scumbag. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It really is. The recommended retail price for the 3080 is still like $600, $700, whatever it was when it was released. But there's these assholes out there who buy them all up and sell them for twice that. Yeah, well, exactly. If it were, you know, that would quite literally be illegal. I mean, I remember when the pandemic first started and everyone was going out and buying hand sanitizer and then reselling it for £50 a bottle. And the government clamped down on that really quickly. They should be doing that for all of these reseller conglomerates. Or conglomerates, I don't know if that's the right word, but you know, these gangs of... It's organised crime, basically. Well, arguably. Okay, this is interesting. So this particular hairstyle doesn't appear to have the ability to go fully... Oh, let's not do that either. Let's not do that. More importantly, let's not turn this live stream into a left versus right conversation. Okay, so I think we've... I'll take that I'll take that as a this hairstyle is not able to do what I want it to do. Another one bites the dust. I would argue that most D-Force hair is limited in this way. Which kind of sucks because it means that realistically these poses are useless. Hey Christian, thanks very much, man. Much appreciated. Okay. What that essentially means is that, as I say, this pose is useless unless they've got very short hair. Let's go back to turning on her original hairstyle and let's give her a new pose that doesn't require her hair to drape underneath her. Poses. What does she look like in a tender? I do not understand the question. A render. What does she look like in a render? Bear with. That. Or that. Right, size, poses. Oh, let's just give her a cliche yoga pose, shall we? This one. This one. This is the one. This is what I'm going with. Standard cliche yoga pose. Right now I need to turn on D-Force on her top and her pants again. Come back to simulation settings, turn that off, turn the duration back down to 1 second and simulate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her hands. They should be together, I'm pretty sure. Because she's not a Genesis 8 female box standard, she's obviously got morphs. Yeah, if I got an afro, that could work. Oh my god, her pants falling down. Stop, stop! Yeah. Let's just get rid of that quickly. What in God's name's just happened? Okay, let's go to... Oh my god, I'm going to get cancelled. Smoothing, smoothing, smoothing. Right, let's clear. I'm going to just have to turn off simulation for those because that is not meant to happen. Simulation, freeze in simulation on. Yeah, yeah. Which dickhead put that in there? Yeah, I could, but they're not clipping. Or they're tight yoga pants, so they're meant to be figure sticking to the form of the shape anyway. If they were like, you know, wrinkly or anything like that, then definitely. But it's not really required, to be honest. I don't really get D-force on yoga pants. It seems like a bit of a waste of time. Right, that's the top fitting nice and snug. Now we need to go to arms. Poses, please. Oh, let's just go into posing. Let's do it that way. Arms. Arms up. Whoa, that's a little too much. 4 degrees is quite a hefty nudge setting for a pose like that. Okay, let's change this then to 8 was way too much. So let's go with 6.5 maybe. Perfect. I just changed left. What a tit. Alright, so that came together when I did 6.5. So let's go with 5.5 and split the difference. There we go. Now our hands are touching. Boom. I'm thinking if I put the camera right down here, I could do one of those sexy wide angle shots that I almost always avoid doing. I'll pop our camera here. Jump into our camera. Spin the camera up so it's kind of there, like that. And then in the camera's parameters, I'm going to go for focal length. I'm going to go with like 35 mil. Is 35 too much? Let's go with 40. Come into perspective view and then move the camera a little bit closer. Where are you? Let's move it to about there. That's better. Now we can rotate a smidge. She's in a slightly more sensible composition or position. About there, I reckon. Come back into turn on depth of field. Bring our focal distance in. So it's about there. Bring down our f-stop so that that's going to look okay. Our feet are going to be a bit blurry there, so I think I need to come up. Probably to about there. Camera, let's have a look at that in the preview mode and see what the skinny is. It looks like our feet are clipping on each other. I may need to fix that momentarily. Boom, 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 boom. Right, the camera's a smidge too low. Let's come up on the Y translate a couple of... There we go. Now we're not seeing underneath the floor anymore. Right, her hips. Legs, legs, legs. Legs apart, legs spread. Let's go with... Too much, seriously, what the frick? 4 degrees is a pretty high nudge setting. Let's go with in your own time. It's because I'm in D-Force NVIDIA preview mode. I only need like 1 degree. Just want her feet to not be inside each other. There we go. That wasn't difficult, was it? Right, now we need to give her an expression. Smart content, poses, expressions. Oh god, here we go. Same thing with the poses. They all look like they're in the middle of doing it. It depends on... The thing is, because there's so much depth of field there, she is actually touching the floor, but because there's so much depth of field, you can't actually see. So I'll probably just move the camera up so that you can see a bit more detail there. Oh, come on. I know exactly the expression I'm after. And it's one of the rare expressions that doesn't look like she's being humped. There it is. Might take a minute to apply that. Get rid of that. Don't need that up anymore. Blimey, we've been going 1 hour and 10 minutes already. 20 minutes to go, folks. 20 minutes. If you have any burning questions that you were waiting to ask, now is the time to do it. I anticipate that what will happen is what usually happens is just as I'm logging off, someone will start firing questions at me. But if you do it now, I can answer them. Right. Let's move the camera up. I want to say... let's go up 2 more degrees and see if that does it. Maybe 2 more. Degrees is not degrees, is it? It's centimeters. Oh, that pose, that expression didn't look very good on her face, did it? If I just spin that and then rotate the camera down slightly. Right, and I think I want to rotate the HDRI a smidge more. Let's try 195. I just want to give it a little bit more side on so that she's actually got a shadow that you can see, and there's a little bit more contrast. Right, that facial expression sucks. Go for expressions. Probably. What I'm after, 0 expression. It's not actually as bad as I thought it was, but it's still not her face. That's like, there's just some of the bones in her face have been moved in a way that wouldn't move for her. It's going to take about 3 hours to apply this 0 pose now. Oh my god. Oh no, it's done. Let's just try closing her eyes. You never know, it might work. Pose controls. Head. Eyes. Eyes closed all the way. 115%. I don't think you shouldn't be able to close your eyes 115%. Pretty sure that would cause you to, you know, like smash your own eyelids. Let's just go with 100 and see how that looks. That's a bit better. Yes, you're not wrong. It's like when people say, when you get something in your eye, pull your top eyelid over your bottom eyelid. I'm like, how? Okay, let's see if we can make her mouth smile very, very slightly. Mouth frown, mouth smile. Let's go with like a mouth smile of like 10%. Okay, right, what I want is the tone mapping. It's just a smidge too bright on her, so I'm going to increase my shutter speed to about 250 and see if that looks better. Now I need to go to parameters and change the mesh resolution in, let's go with 3 to capture any HD details we may have. Yep, that's going to take a finite period of time to figure it out. It's going to take a bit more memory as well because the geometry is 3 times more complex. I feel like after you restart your PC, your renders need only 5 minutes, not 1 hour. There could be a number of reasons for it. If your Daz Studio is not very well optimized, so if you stop a render before it's finished, it doesn't always dump the memory, so you end up, next time you try and do a render, it does CPU fallback because it thinks your GPU is full or it's still being used, so it could be that. But 5 minutes to an hour seems like a bit of an exaggeration. That's quite a difference. Bit of all three, really. I tweak the HDRI till I'm happy, and then I do most of, like, for example, I would normally do the render at this point, and then do anything I needed to do otherwise in Photoshop. The key information that I need from Daz Studio is here. So anything else that I want in the scene, I would just put in Photoshop because it's just quicker, to be honest. So I think I might just do that. I'm going to hit the render button. It's all about saving time at the end of the day. Like people who put volumetric lights in Daz Studio, I've done videos demonstrating how to do it. And there are people who are selling products. I say selling, they're scamming people with these products that they're just volumetric lighting cubes in them, saying, oh, you can get really, it's like, just do it in Photoshop, man. It's easier, it's quicker, less labor intensive. It's gonna, if you, every time you add a cube in there that has like volumetric lighting or something in there, or reflections, it dramatically slows down your render time. Dramatically. So just do the render quicker and put it in post. It's all about selling the fake, not, you know, wasting hours. Yeah, basically what I was saying is, yeah, collaborated by Christian there, CH. That studio is not very well optimized. It is free software. You just have to kind of work around its limitations. So quite often shutting it down, and that means going into your task manager and hard shutdown, and then restarting will speed it up again because it clogs its own memory up. No problem. No problem at all. So I did 3 gaming videos yesterday, which I put on my channel. They're going to be, well, one of them went live yesterday, and there's one on Tuesday, one on Saturday or Thursday, of me playing Phasmophobia. I completed 2 Phasmophobia houses on my own, I might add, solo, which is not easy. Although I was extremely lucky in both cases. And then I've done one episode, the first episode in a playthrough of Gas Station Simulator, which I found to be very apt given what's happening in the UK at the moment. The press have created a fuel shortage by telling everyone there's a fuel shortage. No one was panic buying fuel, then the press started saying that people were going to start panic buying fuel, so guess what happened? Everyone went out and started panic buying fuel. Hey Glodney, thanks man, I'm glad you found it useful. Yeah, it's just the press in the UK. They did the same thing at the start of the pandemic. They told everyone that there were going to be food shortages, and that we were going to run out of toilet paper and pasta. So what did everyone do? They went out and started panic buying toilet paper and pasta, and then created a shortage of toilet paper and pasta. I worked in a supermarket for a little while, just trying to do my bit, and quite literally, I watched a 22-year-old guy shove a 70-odd-year-old guy out of the way to try and get to the last packet of toilet paper in the supermarket. And it's just like everyone was stood around, just like, did we just see that? This poor old fella laying on the floor, all for some frigging toilet paper that the guy probably had packets and packets of it at home already. Yeah, I'm working on a game. I'm working on several games actually, in amongst my real life job and keeping these YouTube channels running. I'm a busy man. Human beings, as a general rule, are quite selfish. Like, you talk to people on the street about it and everyone says, oh no, that's so bad, that's so bad. And then you'll see them literally 2 hours later in the supermarket rugby tackling people to get their toilet roll and their pasta. Like, there's a photo going around on Twitter at the moment of some guy with like 8 plastic jerry cans, filling them up with petrol because he was so terrified that he wasn't going to be able to get the fuel that he wanted 3 times what he needed, so nobody else can get the fuel. The only place you can see any of my games at the moment, and you can only see a preview version of one of them at the moment, is on Patreon. The rest of them are not. I mean, you can probably find them. There's probably pirate sites hosting them and stuff, but I don't currently have downloads available for them because the games that are out there on the internet of mine at the moment are just not at my current standard of coding and rendering. So they don't represent my current technical ability. Hence why I'm remaking them. Tell you what, apart from this lamp up here, we're almost at a place where this render can be put into post, and I could probably fix that just by blurring it out a bit. Okay. Ah, you twit. It was finished. Right, let's go save with last render. Let's try that again. Save it as a JPEG. And I'm going to call it Egypt because I just cancelled it. Right. Go to my folder, my output render folder, uncompressed, and Egypt, and we're going to go to open with Adobe Photoshop. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, choose another app. Always use this to open JPEG files. No, don't. Do not. I don't want JPEG files being opened with Photoshop every time. Get that out of the way while it's loading. Got about 10 minutes left, guys. 10 minutes to ask me any questions that you might have. Or to tell me you disagree with my liberal mindset on my podcast. There we go. Right, first things first, do you use canvases? They, yeah, I do use canvases, not always. I use them for when I'm doing buttons and stuff for my game. Right, let's go. Oh, it's having a bit of a think. Let's just create a copy of this layer. Filter, noise, median. Probably a bit too much. Let's go with 5. Is that better? No, maybe 3. No, maybe 2. 2 will do. Create a layer mask, invert it. Right, that gets rid of the noise from up there. Right, the sun's coming from the left. It is kind of behind the camera, so I don't want to go too mad with my usual lens flare effect, so I'm just going to go with that. Drop the opacity way down. And Oh, I just realised there's a bit of noise in that top left corner as well. Let's get rid of that. Ah, balls. Oh my god. Wake up, wake up. This one's opacity needs to come down. This one's layer mask needs to be adjusted. There we go. Now we're there. Now we're where we want to be. Right, I'm feeling like the stuff behind me might be creating some kind of shadowy effect. Let's say that it's a dewy morning. So I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to use my polygonal lasso tool. And I'm going to go there. I'm going to create another one there. Another one right here. Let's get my brush. Start off with that. I'm going to blur the crap out of it. Filter blur. Gaussian blur, like massive Gaussian blur. Perhaps not that much. I still need to be able to see the definition in there. A little bit. Change this to maybe soft light. Add a layer mask. Nope, don't want to do that. Paintbrush, please. X, that's what I'm after. And then we're just going to go, there we go. It's a little bit of that in there. Create another new layer, and this time I'm going to choose a smoky brush. Kind of like that one will do, I reckon. And drop the opacity down on that a bit. And might move that down a smidge. No, I won't. I'll do that, and then I'll add another layer. So this one's going to go right down to like 13%. Back to my brush tool. Come on, in your own time, Mr. Photoshop. Catch up, please. Because I'm trying to do like different things. If I was to close down Daz Studio right now, which I think I will do. Do I want to save this scene? Let's just call it Flibbity Flobbity. Quick as a flash. Bugger all. There we go. And in your own time, please close. That's closed. Cool. Right, now let's get another fog brush. Let's go with this one, I want to say. No, that's too much. Way too much. Maybe this one. And we're going to come right down here like that. That's better. Just a little bit of fog on the ground. Can drop the opacity down a smidge. Then I'm going to add a curves layer. I'm going to select all of the brighter areas of there. Create a curves layer. I'm going to increase the contrast slightly. Like that. I might add a slight color filter to it as well. Change that to soft light and then drop this way down. Just add a little bit of warmth to our picture. Minuscule amount. I know there is a photo filter layer, but I just like having a little bit more control. If I slide that down to there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add my usual customary rainbow effect to the canvas, like that. Bit too big, that. Bit too big. Big bit of red. Big bit of green. Big bit of blue. And I might actually, just for the fun of it, I'm going to throw a little bit of yellow in there as well. Bring that right down so that it's barely noticeable. Bit too much that. Let's go with 18%. That'll probably work. Yeah, that's better. Might give it a slightly HDR look as well. Screw it, let's do it. Copy 2 layers. Add a bit of a blur to this one. That kind of effect. Drop that down slightly. Bring this layer back in. Filter, high pass. I go with, what was the blur at? That was like 3, wasn't it? So let's go with 3 for the high pass as well. Image, adjustments, desaturate. Linear light, soft light. Let's go with soft light. About there. Might even, so you can do things like that. You can even try, like, for example, let's say you wanted the effect of having a light leak. You could go all red and then find yourself an orange, decent orange, and come down like that. And then you could try adding it as a soft light effect, and it makes it look like there's a bit of light there. If you went for something more vivid, drop the opacity down a bit. You can even do it in normal mode, to be honest, with it just like that. Can make it look like there's a bit of a light leak down the side of the lens. I don't really like the effect for this shot, but, you know, there are options. And then I might, for example, I could add some dust to the picture if I went to, I've got one already downloaded. I'll go with this one because the sunlight's coming from the correct direction. So just grab this, bring it over, add it as a screen layer. Again, drop the opacity down just so that it's barely noticeable. Just adds a few kind of particles floating around the scene. And then you can see, quickly go and download a picture off Tinterweb. Have that kind of there, maybe. Obviously, we'd have to blur it slightly. Again, because it's in the background, so they're not going to be in focus, but you can stick something like that in the background there so that it looks like got birds in the background. Just fills up that little bit of empty space there a bit. I think that layer is still a bit too visible, the dust layer, so I'm going to bring that down a bit more. Cool beans. I think that about wraps it up for this one, guys. Thanks ever so much for watching. It's been a pleasure chatting to you as always. Stay tuned for more videos. Check out the gaming channel. I've linked to one of the videos on the gaming channel on the community tab. But yeah, honestly, thanks ever so much for joining me today, guys. It genuinely means a lot to me. I will see you in the next one. But until then, you take